Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. I'm actually on camera for this one, borrowing Mark Fenter, the Goblin King himself's Goblin list here. Borrowing kind of a weird way to put it. He's also kind of borrowing the deck, but he has been buying cards as he's been borrowing it and continuing to have success both our Wednesday and Friday night tournaments, and of course at the ELD Opens. He recently just won our old school open with Goblins, further cementing his title as the Goblin King. Here a mull to 6. Not too bad. Goblins can recoup from a mulligan pretty well with cards like Goblin Ringleader, but very often mulliganing is extremely punishing. It is not your favorite thing to be doing with goblins, but you do need solid openings, either Aether Vial or Goblin Lackey in almost every matchup. And there we go, a uncharted territory into a Aether Vial that gets Force of Will pitching Ponder. Another basic land comes down, kind of mocking this Wasteland. Pile Driver, not a great turn to play. There'll be a hasty follow-up? No, so just Lackey now. It looks like Lackey would have been preferable. Believe I had the option for either. Kind of hoping for a hasty Goblin or perhaps a land to cast a hasty Goblin. Can't quite see the hand here. Cutting down the number of turns would have been preferable. Instead, just looking at a 2 damage turn here, and now another fetch land. Well, Wasteland has a target, but I gotta say that probably is not a good thing. No reason for him to fetch unless, yep, he's ready to go off. Eureka puts in Omniscience. And on the other side here, all sorts of goblins. So Eureka looking a little scary, but Matt's probably still going to be okay. Let's see here. Matron, a couple of hasty goblins. The whole team is pumped up and ready to go. But will they get a chance to enter in the red zone? I mean, it would be very lethal. And a munitions expert as well. 6 goblins. Yeah, this would be lethal. If Matt doesn't have the win here, this is going to be very dangerous. And can potentially get like Sting Scourger to handle a Gristlebrand. Emrakul would still... Let's see. If it's Emrakul, you can get Goblin Crater Maker. And that, there we go, Goblin Crater Maker. So Crater Maker would let you keep a land and the Lackey, then swing with Lackey, put in Crater Maker, and then get that Emrakul out of there. But no, it is Gristlebrand. So Matt's going to have to win right now. Let's see if he can find an Emrakul or a Cunning Wish. Because Gristlebrand alone not going to be enough. Looks like he's got plenty of counters. Intuition now. And triple Cunning Wish. Easy decision there. Cunning Wish going to hand. And grabbing Release the Ants. He's got the Brainstorm. I think Force of Will's probably good enough. Oh, he's got the Emrakul to go along with it. With these current builds of Goblins without Siege Gang Commander, a Force of Will on top would also do in a pinch. But Emrakul at 15 mana, no way ever going to win that clash. And Matt able to do infinite damage to the face, repeatedly casting Release the Ants. Well, I suppose he can only actually do 20 total damage. I'll be dead by state-based effects on the last one. So Matt taking down game number 1. Now, this build of Goblins really contorts its mana base for Unsettled Mariner. This is some new tech the Goblin players have been testing out. He is a blue and a white mana, pretty much the polar opposite. Literally, on the color pie, like those are the two colors that red hates the most. And you're playing this blue-white creature, and what he does is pretty blue and white in its feel. It's kind of like Crystalline Sliver back in the day, giving protection to your other slivers, except this time it is counter any spell or ability that targets you or a permanent you control unless they pay 1. So every time that you or a permanent you control are targeted, they have to pay an extra 1, or that spell or ability is countered. So what does that do? For combo matchups like Tendrils of Agony, all of a sudden, it's a real pain for them to resolve those tendrils. They could play tendrils for 100, but they're only going to be able to resolve a tendrils for each extra mana they have open after casting the tendrils. When you're looking at a deck like Release the Ants here, if they're tapped out, they can't actually release the ants. So going down to 1 life there, that probably would have been the game, I suppose. He may have had other ways out of it. Well, I suppose he actually had Emrakul, so he could have cast it. So it wouldn't have won in that particular situation. But Release the Ants won't actually be able to kill you. They'll have to find another way, or have enough mana to cast it twice, targeting your Unsettled Mariner. Of course, that gets even more complicated, because then if you have a sack outlet, they have to target the Mariner to get rid of it, and then you can sack it. So things can get really complicated. And that's something Goblins doesn't typically have. Now, one thing that I'd love to see in this sideboard is Confusion in the ranks. That is a very spicy enchantment. And man, is it an absolute blowout versus the show and tell strategies. Whenever a creature, artifact, or enchantment enters the battlefield, you switch it for control of another permanent of the same type with your opponent. So if you put in Confusion of the Ranks, they put in Omniscience, you actually get their Omniscience right there and then. Now, if they run the Release the Ants build, they could still win at instant speed, which is part of the reason why it's not really embraced by many players. But it is probably the best thing you can put in off of an opposing show and tell if you have creatures in your deck, because when they put in their Emrakul, you can just give them your 1/1 and you get their Emrakul, which is also very good. So Lackey now, turn 1 Lackey into Matron. Looks like some options here. Crater Maker, definitely a important card here to take down Emrakul. Looks like Goblin Ringleader being selected, so hopefully going to reload. Oh, we've got the Crater Maker in hand, so that's nice. So turn 2 looking pretty good here for Goblins. Matt now sacrificing. Hasn't played any cantrips yet. We'll see how much sculpting he needs to do. A Tropical Island. Oh no, Lotus Petal into Eureka. He puts in Omniscience. And I got a Rishadan Port and also pass. So this Ringleader's resolves. Ringleader's triggered ability resolves after Eureka, so you can't actually get the extra goblins in hand to put those in. And it's just going through the motions here. Cunning Wish for Brainstorm Impulse and another Cunning Wish. The typical pile for Firemind's Foresight. This will allow him to Impulse and Brainstorm, going 7 cards deep, finding the card to put on top. And then he can Cunning Wish for Release the Ants and just end it here. Cunning Wish now with Emrakul on top. And Release the Ants. Gonna do all of the remaining damage right to my face. 19. I guess actually 18, tapped Fiery Islet a couple of times, and that'll do it. So, man, this Eureka deck getting a turn 2 kill versus a dangerous board. That Crater Maker would have potentially been a real problem for a standard Sneak and Show. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.